Today we're gonna talk about a book called Undoing Depression, because there's a lot of people depressed all over the net. Maybe too much junk food, maybe too much listening to the news. Well, we're gonna learn from it. Welcome to Success, Yes or Yes.
This is Success, Yes or Yes. All about succeeding in life, career, and anything in between.
And we're again here with Brian Forsyth to tell us all about this book and give us all the jewels inside it. Yeah? Thank you so much and welcome again, Brian. Hello.
Hey, what's going on, Kaya? Glad to be here again with you. And talking about, last episode we had talked a little bit about my book and we talked about morning
routines,
and how that can make you undepressionable, and the reason why I say that is because when you're dealing with depression or anxiety, it's a constant struggle to maintain. And if you're dealing with like a deep depression where something has happened, or depression is cyclical, so you kind of go through your ebbs and your flows, and your ups and your downs. And so when you're in a deep depression, then you absolutely need something that is strong enough that you can get out of it. And so I talk about this idea of being undepressionable. And speaking about undoing depression, the book in particular by a guy named Richard Oconnor. He's a PhD, so he's a smart guy, right?
He's a psychologist.
Yeah, he's a psychologist. The book is about depression, and it talks a lot about his case studies and the different cases that he's seen, and so it's a really good book. And just talking about depression in general, in 2012, 1 in 10 in the United States were on antidepressants. And so currently it's estimated in the year 2019 that there were 17.3 million adults that had at least one major depressive episode. And interestingly enough, these statistics are coming from they're kind of related to how many different instances of antidepressants are being prescribed.
Is it growing? Is the number growing?
Oh yeah, it's growing. In 2012, it was that the number was 1 in 10. That 1 in 10 people were on antidepressants, and these days, it really works out to every 5 people you meet is probably dealing with not just low-level depression, but they're dealing with some level of crippling depression that makes it hard for them to have a full and an amazing life.
Well, some people could say it's not growing, but now it's detected, and now people go to treat these things, when in the old days they would just man up or something. What do you think?
Well, I mean, that's the sad thing, is that actually the opposite is true, right? We hear a lot about it, like especially if you're in the social world, as me and you are. Information that's one of the advantages of social, is the fact that information does get spread around. In general, people that are living in the social world a little more than maybe some of the other population, we're a lot more open to different people, different ideas, different thoughts. So we hear a lot more about it. But in the mainstream world, there's a huge stigma that still keeps people from seeking treatment. Even though depression, even major depression, is considered a highly treatable disease. My personal story is that somewhere around the 2012, 2000, it's about 2015, 2014. I had a near suicidal breakdown, and I was in treatment for 7 months, and I was on antidepressants and all these different things. So I kind of can speak to both sides of, mainstream treatment and then alternative treatment, which is what I advocate, what I talk about in the book, the different ways that you can, deal with your depression.
So is the solution that this book, Undoing Depression, is it they're providing a similar solution than the one you were providing?
Well, Undoing Depression talks a lot about, because it's a full-length book, so it talks a lot about the cases and one of the interesting things talking about cases of depression and stigma, and generally the understanding of depression is that he talks about that a lot of times people will come into his facility and they have no idea that they're dealing with depression. They think that they're having financial problems, or they feel like they're they can't sleep. And then when he starts talking to them, and starts they have tests and things that will kind of figure out what kind of depression you have, and then treatments and things like that. But when he starts talking to them, he finds out that they're actually dealing with depression, that their thing that they're coming forward with is not actually what they thought, that they're dealing with this unseen symptoms of depression.
But if you don't feel depressed, can you be depressed? I mean, if you're not like sad and crying or in bed for 3 weeks, can you still be depressed in not knowing it? I mean, it's counterintuitive. No, how do you? Am I depressed? I'm not sad, but I'm not productive. Does that mean I'm depressed because I'm just watching TV for 10 hours? Does that mean I'm depressed?
So typically and that's kind of one of the things that sort of drives the stigma, is that it's very misunderstood. One of the things that the book talks about is that, if this is such a serious issue, right, and it is, I mean, it's affecting, currently the current statistics are 17.3 million adults are, expected to have at least one major depressive episode. And of course that number is growing, right? So if the situation is such a, obviously bad one, then where's all the money? Where's the march of dimes for depression? Where's these people coming forward and putting all this money towards figuring out how to make this better? And the truth is, it's not there. And one of the reasons is because there's a pretty large misunderstanding. Everybody kind of thinks of depression as you're crying and you're sad, and they and because it can seem like that, a lot of people tend to see it as that. So this line between sadness and depression gets very fuzzy. And because it's fuzzy, when somebody comes and says, especially at work, somebody says, I'm dealing with depression, or I think I might be depressed, then someone quite often will hear, well, just get over it. Because if you're sad, sadness isn't an illness. Sadness is just sad, and you're going to do some crying, and you may be sad for a couple of days or whatever, depending upon what it is you're sad about. And then you pick yourself up and you move on, and most importantly, when you talk to somebody when you're sad, that tends to make it better. And so it's totally unlike depression. If you're dealing with depression, the symptoms actually last for at least 2 weeks. That's one of the main things. They don't sort of become really serious, where it's affecting your eating, where it's affecting your sleep, your loss of appetite for the things that you once loved. You basically just want to sit on the couch for, a couple of weeks. And even though you may be pushing through it, like you just kind of have this pervading sense that, life just really has lost meaning for you. And when that type of feeling persists for 2 weeks or more, then, you probably are dealing with some level of depression. And it can, depression can look where you're, you're crying and you're, doing all these things. But, for people who deal with depression on a day-to-day basis, in many instances, you won't even know, because you're speaking to someone who used to be, constantly, somewhat suicidal, and that, I thought about,
it becomes normal, so you don't notice it.
Yeah, it's like, you know that there's something wrong. Like I talk about, in the book, I talk about how, I kind of knew there was something wrong. I mean, like, 'cause I had a really rough childhood and all this stuff, whatever, abuse and parental violence and all these things. But, so it's not too surprising that I would have had depression, but I didn't really, go and have anybody really, diagnose me or anything like that. I didn't go into treatment. I just kept through, what I call blue periods. And that's kind of why I wrote the book, because I wanted people to understand that, one, these are the symptoms of depression. Two, that depression is really, something to be taken seriously. And three, that if you don't, do something about it, then what happened to me may happen to you. And so, that's one of the things about it is to, whether you go the medical route, whether you, go to see a psychiatrist or a psychologist and then, get prescribed drugs and you go to counseling, or whether you follow, more of the ideas that many people are following these days, which is cognitive behavioral therapy, which doesn't involve drugs in most cases. It involves much more about like watching what's going on inside of your head, what I call the inner garden. Are you allowing weeds in the inner garden? Like, are you, you do a lot of thoughts journaling, and there's different, techniques and things like that.
So how do we undo it?
So undoing it starts with, if you're dealing with depression yourself, it starts with, it starts with the same thing that anything starts with that you really want to get done. And that's, you have to really, really want to do it. You have to be able to find the strength within yourself to focus, to fight through the pain, to fight through the all the resistance that you're going to get in trying to make it through. Right?
Yeah, but it might seem like a whole world, no? It's too much of an effort for someone who's like with zero energy and in the bed and depressed. So for people who are zero energy really, and how can they start? Is it about changing your habits? It's about doing exercise? Because it's titled Undoing Depression, yeah? So what are the main steps?
So if you're at the point where, you don't want to get out of bed, and you're not really eating, which is, some of the things that can happen with major depression. Well, at that point, you really need to, seek professional help, because you can do a lot, but when you're in that situation where you can't hardly get yourself out of bed, you're basically, you've just kind of given up. And then that would, there's a certain number of things that you can do, but you would have to find the strength to do them, right?
Like what? Eating.
Yeah, you need to eat. So the top sort of 5 things I would tell anybody if they're if they're dealing with depression is to 1, make sure that you get out every day, go outside, be in the sunshine, take your shoes off, walk through the grass, get really in tune with the external. Because one of the main things that depression does is depressed is a good word for depression, in that because depression sort of makes you into a singularity. And, singularity is a very, 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 very compact element, right? And what depression does is it kind of squeezes you down into, this person that no longer feels anything from the external, and you're just sort of wrapped up in all of your mental stuff. And it sort of squeezes you down, and even though you know that you're depressed, right? All these things that you used to love to do, and life used to have meaning. Slowly but surely, if you let it, depression just squeezes you down to where the only thing you're really thinking about and feeling is your internal struggle.
Yeah. So one of the things, get out. Get the sun, get the vitamin D.
Get outside.
Move your body. Yeah. Get off that sofa. Get out of the bed.
Because and that's the truth. If there's one thing that is consistent in all the case studies and all the books that I've read, and my experience is that do not let depression dictate you staying on the couch. You have to get up, and that's one of the main keys that I talk about, is that you got to be able to find the strength to fight it. You have to find the strength to actually, fight against it. And I talk about it because I think of depression kind of like a monster that lives within us.
Yeah.
And there's things that feed it, and there's ways to starve it. And one of the things that feeds it is listening to it. And I'm not saying it's easy, because I know it's not easy, especially if somebody's unfortunately stuck in their bed or something like that. But you have to be able to find the strength, find the why, find some reason that gives you the strength to fight.
Why would you do the effort? Maybe it won't be for yourself. Maybe it will be for your mom, for your kids, or find those anchors you were talking about last time, right? To pull you out of the bed, give you a reason to try to do the effort. Okay.
Yeah, like the anchors. Go ahead.
Yeah, you find your why. Yeah, and then your first step. You said there were 5 steps. Yeah, so we have one step now. Get out in the sun. Go outside.
Go outside. That's the number 1. You got to
get out of your cave.
Get out of your cave. Nobody. Don't live in your cave.
No one's gonna come to visit you inside the cave because it's very dark and dirty. Yeah,
that's
humid,
right.
Creepy.
Creepy. There's spider webs. Clean the spider webs.
Yeah, man. Get out of your.
Webs out.
There's life outside your apartment. That's
right. So once you get outside, take your shoes off. One of the powerful things, Tony Robbins talks about this, is to, notice your body posture when you're outside and change it, right? He talks about changing your state. And one of the easiest ways to change your state is to change your body posture. So once you do manage to get yourself outside, look up, raise your arms, look up, take deep breaths, look up and see up above you. And sometimes just doing that, notice how that makes you, how much better you feel.
Yep,
because
the physiology, you call it, no? Your physiology changes your state. I was reading that this morning in the Tony Robbins. Wait a moment, I'm going to show you my book. I am so glad that you're mentioning that, because precisely I'm reading Unlimited Power. Can you see it here? There, Unlimited Power. Yeah. That's what I was reading today by the pool.
Yeah, Tony Robbins is the he's probably the the best known motivational speaker. I mean, I swear he could read the telephone book and I would listen. I mean, he is like some kind of dude. But so definitely, when you do finally get yourself outside your state.
Okay, yeah. What's number 2? What's trick number 2?
So number 2 is drink plenty of water.
Wow. All right.
You got it. That's because a lot of times with depression, you don't eat very well, and you don't take care of yourself very well. And the number one thing that most of us don't do very well as far as taking care of ourselves is drinking enough water. So, I shoot for, like, the way you can tell you're drinking enough water is, you should be getting up to urinate probably at least 4 times a day over the course of a day. So if you're not drinking enough water for that to happen, then that lets you know. Like, I start my day every day with 2 glasses of cold water.
Cold? Why cold?
Cold just wakes me up. And,
all right.
So I just think that, ideally, if you have lemons, put a slice of lemons in your water. A lot of the very successful entrepreneurs, they talk about drinking lemon water every morning. It's good for your body. But so drink lots of water. And the thing is, if you drink lots of water, then if you keep on that idea, and you can keep moving through that, then that may encourage you to eat better, to eat a little bit more. If you don't feel like you even want to eat, and if you can kind of start with drinking, then that's the best thing, because if you don't drink enough water, then your body will slowly die, right? Because it literally gets dehydrated.
Makes sense. Drink a lot of water, be healthy. Yeah, take care of your health.
Yeah.
Mens sana in corpore sano. That's what that's the healthy brain in healthy body. Yeah.
That's right. So
we're all connected. It makes all the sense in the world. It's kind of so obvious, and still most people don't do it.
No, they don't. It's crazy. If you ever work in an office, just look at how many people actually drink anything, other than like soda or coffee or whatever. Like, it always shocked me whenever I was at the office and I look around. I'm like, I'm the only dude walking around carrying a 64-ounce water bottle. Everybody else is like, they're like camels. We've trained ourselves to be camels. Yeah. But so number 3 is exercise, right? You're gonna get out. You're gonna maybe do your exercise when you go out, but then you drink plenty of water, and then you do some form of exercise every day. Whether it's just walking around, stretching. I know a lot of people think of exercise and they're like, they look at like, all the athletes and everything, and they're like, oh, if I can't do that, then what's the point, right? And that's something as far as depression goes. There's the 15 what they call logical fallacies or thinking fallacies, and one of the big ones for depression that I have dealt with is all or nothing. And all or nothing says, well, if I can't do it this way, if I can't do it perfectly, then I'm not going to bother doing it at all, right? And that's a common
perfection paralysis. The perfectionist, it's an excuse to procrastinate the whole time. Yeah,
that's right. Yeah, it's very common with people that are dealing with mental challenges and things like that, and even people who aren't. It's really common for people to for that to be one of their major things. You know, if I don't have all the money I need, if I don't have the resources I need, then, you know, I'm not going to be as good as, you know, that guy that I emulate, or, you know, that all-star, whatever it is. And so I would encourage you, regardless whether you're doing depression, you know, is just do, you know, regardless of whether it's perfect, just do it. You know, this concept of shoot, aim. You know, just shoot, aim. And I know that's confusing. Most people think aim, shoot, but the truth is you're really not going to know what you're shooting at until you shoot, see whether you hit what you're aiming at, and then, you know, shoot again and then aim. And so basically what that's saying is don't let this pursuit of perfection, you know, limit you from working towards your best life, whatever that life looks like.
Take action. Less thinking, more doing. Yeah, that's why I'm an actor. I'm not a thinker, and that's why I take action and I don't think what I do, and I get into a lot of mess.
That's up to the director is the one that gets to think. That Kaya's just acting, man.
Yeah, you just have to do. No, and I can. I had a whole fitness journey in the last year. Like I was talking to my girlfriend, like how much my body has changed in 1 year. It's incredible. I can really see the difference in my body. It's incredible. And it started with 1 push-up. You know, I started with 10 push-ups. You know, everyone can do 10 push-ups. Or if not, do 5, do 1, you know. And then the next day I would increase 1, you know. And then the next day I increase another 1, you know. And at the end, I'm doing hundreds of push-ups 1 year after. And it's like nothing. But 1 year ago, I couldn't think of doing 100 push-ups. And now I do them every day, you know. But I started with 10, and then 11, and then 12, until I got to hundreds.
That's right.
It's just a baby step each day. You cannot
baby steps.
You cannot run a marathon, like you said. Yeah, you cannot run a marathon today, but maybe you can run 10 seconds. Okay, let's start today 10 seconds, and tomorrow 15. Let's see how it feels until it feels relaxed and easy, and then we'll go to 20 seconds. And then without knowing it, if you do that every day, it's such a small effort. And if you do that every day, in 1 year, you're going to be running a marathon for sure, right? If it's pure math, it's pure progression, so you will. So anyone can do it. It's just jump, and you can. How is that? Jim Run, not Jim Run, Zig Ziglar. Take the. Oh, I'm gonna misquote him right now, but it's like, if you can take a giant step today, take a small step, but just take as big as a step as you can, but take it, and take it today.
Yeah. Yep. Well, when I first started running, I was a horrible runner, and I think the first time I started running, I probably ran like maybe a half a mile, and you know, and slowly but surely, you know, you just keep pushing yourself. And so speaking of all that exercise, you still doing that UFC gig with the whole going to UFC gym and stuff?
I had my Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu yesterday, but I think I'm getting too old for that. I'm gonna go for more boxing and striking, kickboxing. Actually, I enrolled for an amateur fight of kickboxing October 2020. And I'm kind of nervous about that. And at the same time, that motivates me to go to the gym more frequently because I'm scared of my fight. Motivation nation.
Our money's on you, Kaya.
Okay, number 4. What's the trick number 4?
So number 4 is journaling. Journaling. Yep. If you journal every day, then... and maybe not journal every day, right? But just set yourself a pattern that you can live up to. And be gentle with yourself if you don't happen to be able to hit, you know, your whatever your target is.
What's my target? 3 pages, the morning pages, or it's about 30 minutes, or what? What's my target?
Well, ideally you want to journal every day in some way.
1 minute?
And yeah, just set yourself a timer, do 1 minute, do 3 minutes. But the most important thing is that you physically are writing it down with a pencil or a pen or whatever, and that you don't edit it, that you are writing it. And see, there you go. See, Kaya, everybody follow Kaya. Kaya is killing it right now. He's reading Tony Robbins. He's UFC guy. He's journaling on paper. He's playing a saint right now. I don't know what's going on. Anyway, so yeah, so definitely do your journaling every day. And the reason why I talk about this so much is that if you're journaling every day, then you can kind of see where your mind state is, and you can see, whether or not, if you happen to be dealing with depression, you can kind of see whether you're in the ebbs or the flows. You see whether you're in the high or the low, and you can, most importantly, you can see your wins, right?
So you get a piece of paper and you just start writing whatever crosses your mind. Is that it?
Yeah, you can. It depends on whether your thoughts journaling. I recommend that too, especially if you're, if you can do thoughts journaling like once a week, then, definitely do that. But if you're not doing thoughts journaling in particular, then the journaling is just about, what happened in your day, what you were thinking about, what.
Oh, so you mean at the end of the day? At the end of the day, you talk about what happened.
Yeah, just to sort of keep track, because, and I recommend if you're dealing with depression, really anybody, to have a success journal, because when things are dark, even if you're not dealing with depression or anxiety or whatever it is, when things are dark, it's so powerful to be able to go and look at all of your success. Like you can see, because one of the thoughts might be, oh, I've never done anything right. And then you can look back and you can say, well, last week you whatever it was you did. And so just pay attention to your successes, because we tend to beat ourselves up so much over, our faults and our failures, quote unquote. And so it's important to be able to look back and say, hey, I had a lot of fun doing this. I did this was successful. And so that you can combat those thoughts in your head. You can kill some of those weeds that might be growing in your inner garden that will feed your depression, because that's what it's all about. If you're dealing with depression, is figuring out what feeds your depression and what starves your depression. And one of the things that feeds the depression is allowing those weeds, allowing those thoughts that say, oh, you suck, oh, you're such a bad father, oh, you've never done anything right, everything is your fault. Like you let those thoughts fester in your head. They go bigger, they go stronger. They, take other pieces of your personality and suck those in too. And now before you were ugly, now you're also stupid. And so it just becomes this like maelstrom of insanity. And so it's up to you. It's up to you to break that.
Yeah. So one of the tricks of the journal is to surprise yourself with the thoughts you're having, to catch also those negative thoughts and be able to correct them, aside from the possible wins. Yeah. And most importantly is write those down. Like I talk about thought journaling, and just spend like, a minute or 2 minutes or whatever it is, just writing all your thoughts down. And then you can kind of see, what kind of thoughts are percolating up in there. And then, once it's down on the ground, on the paper, you've externalized it. Externalizing things is one of the real keys to consistently, sort of keeping your depression at bay, because depression, makes everything internal, and you start paying attention to the internal, and then all these different thoughts and all these different failures and all these different things. And now you're just up in your head all the time. And so, that's one of the main benefits of going outside, is that, you're external, you're outside, you've got all these inputs that are coming in, it's sunny, it's rainy, the birds are chirping, whatever it is. And really that ties you back to, the good life, the good times, so to speak, or can. And so that can break that whole, depression, rumination. That's what it's called. Rumination is when
when something has happened or whatever, and your thoughts just go around and around and around and around that same thing, and it feels like you're thinking, but it's actually not thinking because there's no result. And that's called rumination, and that's one of the hallmarks of a worsening depression.
Yeah, going back and back and back. Yeah, got it. And number 5. All right, what's the trick number 5?
And number 5 is to have a definite end of your day practice where you go through your day and you're actively considering your day. Did your day go as you thought it would? Did you do anything with your day? What did you want your day to look like?
Evaluation.
Yeah, and you don't, the most important thing is you don't do this with a critical, judgmental, hateful, tone in your head. You go through, you're honest, you look at it, you say, okay, this is what happened. This is what I spent most of my day doing. These are the fun things that I did. These are the not fun things that I did. All these different things. And then you look at that and you say, okay, today was today, and tomorrow was tomorrow, and these are the things that I'm going to work on, and that's it. And you don't beat yourself up over what you didn't do or weren't able to accomplish, or whatever. It's all about.
So it's an evaluation of your day in a gentle manner.
Yeah. Be gentle with yourself.
This point I don't get very well. Why is this a point to undo depression? The other 4 I get very clearly, because it's about health, about exercise, journaling, about getting your thoughts and detecting the negative ones and celebrating the wins. I get all of those 4. The 5th one, evaluation of your day. It's not so clear for me. Why is that taking me out of depression?
So that is all about when you're dealing with depression, it can get where you don't feel as anything ever changed through the day. Like it can feel like depression.
So you can see some productivity.
Yeah. And what you want to see is that, because if you let it, depression will fool you into believing that you're always depressed, and everything just becomes like this gray band. Life becomes this like gray band. There's no highs, there's no lows. It's just like this. And so you can kind of start feeling like you're always this or that. And if you can have the end of your day and you can kind of look and see that there actually were, ebbs and flows, then, that undoing depression is a good word, because what you're doing is, one, you're saying that it's possible to undo depression. That depression isn't this monster that can't be defeated. Yes, it may take power. Yes, it may take energy. It may take focus. It may take, ungodly motivation, but it's possible to undo depression. And so that's key.
Yes, it's possible, and that's why this book is here, your book is here, and that's why we're talking here, just to help people. Yeah, we're just doing this to help people that may be depressed, which are a lot, to get out of that. And it's not your natural state, and it's not normal, and it's not good or healthy to be there. It's just I'm just trying to clarify also. It's just between step 4 and trick 4 and 5, journaling and the evaluation of the day. I'm kind of confused, because for me they're very similar, no? Because when you're journaling, you're checking on the wins of the day, their thoughts of the day, and then in the evaluation, I'm checking on what productive things I did in the day. So it's like the same as the wins of the day.
Yeah, it's something like that. It's like just looking kind of back and seeing, where you were versus, where you started and that kind of thing. It's kind of like it's really all about tying a bow around the day and looking forward to tomorrow.
Tying a bow. I like that.
Doing a little bit of forethinking and maybe even planning for tomorrow. One of the things that depression can do is it can kind of make you feel like, what's the point? And so you don't do, maybe the planning that you need to, and so life never really changes. So that's kind of that kind of thing.
Yeah, it shows you that there's a possibility. I get that. Okay. Shows you you can improve. It shows you can improve day to day. Yeah, I get that. Yeah. So little by little, you start realizing that, and wow. All right. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 steps undoing depression, and some final words to wrap it up.
So, talking about, I know, like today we're talking about the coronavirus. Everybody in the world's talking about the coronavirus.
Oh my gosh, I'm so sick and tired of the coronavirus. Everyone's panicking. More people die of SARS. More people die of AIDS. More people die of car accidents and smoking tobacco and alcoholism. And everyone's worried about the coronavirus that killed a few. It's like, oh my God. Yeah, it's new, but so what? It's new. More people die in Africa every day of hunger. And it's very easy to solve. And there's a cure for that. See? We're worried about something that there's no cure, but there's something that has a cure and we're not doing anything about it. What's wrong here?
Yeah, it's crazy.
And actually, I believe that sharing the news, I just fought with a WhatsApp group today, and they kicked me out of the group and everything for the 5th time. That they keep on adding me. I don't want to be in that group, but they keep on adding me, and then they throw me out because I protest too much. Because they keep on. It was precisely because of the coronavirus today, because they kept on posting and posting. People just copy paste whatever they see in the internet. No one's a doctor there, so
right.
Why are you're just contributing to the panic and to the negativity? I don't even watch the news at all. Yeah. Either the TV or the internet, because the news is always negative stuff. So
it is.
It's like, oh my God. So
yeah, James Marshall McLuhan wrote a book called Amusing Ourselves to Death. It was in 1978. And he said that if you watch just 4 hours of TV a day, your impression of your whole world actually changes. You think you're more likely to be attacked. You think you're, less safe. You think all these different things. It literally changes your perception. And the truth is, perception is reality. Like how you perceive is what is your reality. So I'm with you. I don't watch TV, especially not the local news, because the local news is, and let's be honest, they're struggling, so they're going to put anything they can on the TV to get somebody to watch.
Yeah, that's their business. Their business is to put alarming news, so you watch it, you share it, and all that. That's their business, because it's a business. The news channel needs audience for them to have advertisers and all that thing. So okay, just be clear. They're not there for you. They're there for themselves. It's a business, and you are their business. So, they're not the truth. They're not the truth. They're totally biased. So they're not an NGO. I love that. Why are we thinking that we take the news like it's the universal truth or something like that? News are not NGOs. They're paid by the private sector to sell more newspapers, to sell more advertisement online. So
they are.
Why would they ever be true? They would never be true. Because they're totally interested. Oh my God.
Kaya Speaks. That's the new name of this channel. Is Kaya Speaks. Kaya Speaks the Truth. Yes or yes.
Yes or yes.
800-999-1212.
But don't call when I'm sleeping, which is most part of the day. I don't know.
All right.
By the way, I'm Kuya Manzano. You can search Kuya Manzano in any social media network, and I privately answer. If might take me a day, but I privately answer all the messages and I check them personally. It's a win because we just hit 115,000 friends online. Woo-hoo!
That's what I'm talking about.
So there. Helping little by little, step by step. It's just we do this kind of podcasts and videos just to help you out. Yeah. And on that, at the same way, we're helping ourselves already, because just by reading something, by teaching, by discussing something, we're learning it and relearning it and keep making it deeply ingrained there. And that's one trick that I can give you that works for me. I'm an ADHDer. I have a very poor memory, and repetition works very well. And when you have to explain it to another person, wow, the effort makes it sink in my brain really. So I really appreciate Brian. We're gonna that we're doing this, and I want to do this with the whole list of books you've read, and let's discuss all books about productivity, success, happiness. Let's discuss this because it's like I read them myself when you explain it, and then since I try to understand it, and I want the people to understand it as well, but especially it's my own curiosity. That's why I ask so many questions, and I try to really understand from my point of view and the possible point of view of someone who's watching it. Yeah. So
Definitely. I appreciate you having me on, and we always, I really like doing this, and it's like I said, it's something that really helps me, it ingrains it, as you talk about it, just like when you write about it, when you talk about it, it ingrains it, and hopefully somebody out there has heard something that they can either use for themselves, or they can share it with somebody else, and maybe it helps them. At the very least, maybe we've brought some awareness. Stop the stigma, right? Break the stigma of depression.
Definitely, it's not normal to be depressed. It's not good, and you can get out of it. Yeah, it's in 95% of the cases, it's figure outable, to quote Maria Forleo. There. So it's Brian Forsyth in Facebook, and we're gonna publish a link also there, so it's easier to find. I'm so happy and thankful to have found a new friend with you, Brian. Yeah.
Hey, appreciate that. You're awesome, Kaya. Okay, hang on. It's not Kaya. It's Kuya.
Kuya, Kuya Manzano.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's much cooler than Kaya. Kuya.
Yeah, Kuya.
All right.
Sounds like something. Yeah, and please, guys, subscribe. Hit the subscribe button and the notifications bell. We're very new with Success Yes or Yes. And we're doing this all for you. Here in Success Yes or Yes, we do it all for you.
All right,
there. I know. I'm just plagiarizing from a local department store here in the Philippines.
we need a jingle, Kuya.
Yeah,
we need a jingle.
Let's think of the jingle. I can sing.
Some,
I don't know if you can play something. I'll sing.
Oh yeah, I play like 5 different instruments. So
there you go. That's
guitar,
a commitment
drums,
in public.
Bass.
Really? All right. Oh, yeah, we can record music virtually. Right now, we can do anything virtually. That's the magic of the internet. I love it. It's like crazy. And when I was younger, we didn't even have cell phones or internet, my friends. And I had a black and white TV. Oh no, I must be old. Oh wow.
Yeah, I had a TV that had we had an antenna.
With no remote control. How about that?
I was remote control. Boy, get up there and change that channel. All right, Dad.
You have to stand up and touch the TV or something.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. We're showing our age too much, my friend.
Those were the days.
Okay, thank you so much, Brian. It's been a pleasure.
Hey.
Thank you, everyone.
Yeah.
Comment.
Thank you, Kuya.
Comment, and let us know your feedback and your takeaways. It will be lovely. That's our best gift. Thank you, Brian.
All right. Have a good day, Kuya.
Same. Bye.
Bye-bye.